Alright people, this is going to be part 3 of what I have up here, which is your Qrystal clearance, or spelled with a Q, your Q clearance, your power stone, and or your capstone, otherwise also known as your head, and the knowledge that goes with it, of what you should know, basically. And I really do hope you've watched the previous 2 parts to this, because it could very well mean the difference of you knowing or not about your true American inheritance that has been literally stolen from you and your ancestors. And you can say perceptively stolen or not, but still it equals out to be stolen from you and your ancestors, that you were never told about, never taught about, therefore never knew about. Okay, and that could mean the difference in all of that in your spending privileges and everything as a true American sovereign. Okay, so let's get on with it, and here we go. All right, people, this one I have up here, I have, it's all in my head, so I have it all, you know, when you get to know something and you're sick of it, like this blocking team that has been deployed on myself now for 7 years in such a treasonous manner. The crew has about 5 to 7 members. Sometimes would invite other crews over and become as many as 21, 22 or so. But yeah, just to, you know, view the new supposed lab rat, when in all actuality, well, I kind of pulled a Superman 2 on them and drained all the information that I'm giving you now out of them. So please, people, use it, and don't, hopefully they won't have to, nobody will have to, but please use this and use it wisely. Don't go through 7 years of a blocking team or 17 years of their bullcrap, if you know what I mean. But this one I have up here, basically I've already jumped the gun, and I've already told you about it, but here's the screen if you need it written out. Goes over the meaning of omedetou gozaimasu and why the Japanese, and the game of Go, and you know, why the terms the Japanese and whatever. You know, they say it's a Chinese game, but all the terms are in Japanese. Why is that? And you have to actually, I speak fluent Japanese, as I've told you, so only if you recognize that would you know the difference. But now you know, if you've seen this. So that's called a mask, as well, a language mask. But most importantly on this one, that game that ends up as self-evident, or a truth that is self-evident, which is, even though they've taken a lot of it out or messed with a lot of it, but is still in there. It's like I said, I would have to go back and look it up, but it's either in the Declaration of Independence, what I call the Clarification of Non-Dependence, or the Constitution. But because of those prefixes, you know, I found it to be, because it also includes articles, and this is one thing I didn't tell you, but I found it to be called the Articles of Enterprise. They don't like you to say enterprise, because it's the E in estate. Estate is not just a property, land, with picket fence around it. It's your lawful estate. It's your estate privileges, your spending privileges, your travel privileges, your enjoy your life on this planet privileges, and its access that they currently, did I say currency, or no, I said currently, that's right, currently use. And I already have this all out there already too, for people. Your real currency is your red pumping blood. Why do you think they like vampires so much? It's your red pumping blood, and that is the actual gold. Hey, you know, Hey you, no, AU is the symbol, the two-letter symbol on the periodic table. Do you get it now? But the game is being played upon the true American people at this very moment. I don't think that the true American sovereign people appreciate a game being played on them with their very lives, with everything that they could have had and should be having is kept from them. I just don't think so. So, any of those who doubt, here's the beauty of it. Those who fight against that statement are guilty, and those who fight for it are the true American people. Got any doubts on that? And one last thing, people, and the Articles of Confederation, I found to be called Articles of Federation. That's your sovereignty part. Now, this is the thing I didn't tell you yet. Please listen to this carefully. In today's, because they try to run everything as dead, okay? Dead. They always mention the national debt to you. They never mention the national credit. It's always the same number because you have offsetting privileges for anything that you get. Isn't that something, people? I mean, you go to the store, and every time you go to the store to spend something, you get robbed. Because they're not giving you, they might not know it either, but you're not getting the credit that you're supposed to be offsetting the debit with. You're supposed to be able to go to any store. Everything's prepaid under HJR 192, 1933. Look it up. Or Public Law 7310, 1933. Look it up. That's when a very big, apparently clear coup took place in this country. Look it up. Is used by their frank Nazi intelligence community, selective service, meaning they selectively service their own minions, descendants, associates, whatever, only. That's what that means. It's called the split dollar arrangement, and they keep your credit, and you end up having to use your sweat labor to try to pay your debt off. But the national debt is the national credit, which is the same number. Whatever it is, it's the same number because you have offsetting. We all have offsetting privileges. Okay? But those, if you look at the corporate world, you'll see that they require an articles of it's a memorandum of understanding and an articles of operation. And usually I think there's another one, but does that or does that not sound like the three founding documents to this country? And because they split you on your certificate of live birth, the Constitution is basically the articles of organization, commercially, as they have it. That middle one, which is the Declaration of Independence, or the clarification of non-dependence, as I call it, because that's what it really is. That's your memorandum of understanding. And then there's, or sometimes, depending on what they require, they usually require one or two more, but it's usually three, and there's another one that takes the place. If it's not the memorandum of understanding, it'll be that other one, which right now I'd have to go look it up. But just look it up, people. But it mirrors, as I just told you a little while ago, the three documents that it takes to set up the basic documents. It'll take more than that, but the basic documents of what is required to set up a corporation, a corpse, which is dead. You're not dead, people. You're very sovereign, you're very alive, and very American royalty, so that's why I have that up there. So, people, what I have up here is basically just a very short one. It says, however, it labels you because you are. I've said it many times now. If you were born here and or even are here legally and lawfully, okay, mainly lawfully, basically you are, and support this country and have not done anything in any way to go against it, then you are American royalty, but especially the American sovereign people who were born here on the land, naturally born from your natural birth parents, as they also try to impersonate. And it's just unbelievable what these estate blocking teams, like the one that's on me now, right now as we speak, do. They are disgusting. They are programmed to be disgusting. And they cannot change their ways, people. They cannot do it. 7 years? Who watches another human being for 7 years? Or has the finances to do that? Okay, so I'm just reminding you. All right, but anyway, on this one, it labels you as American royalty, all of the true American sovereign people. So it says, however, you now know you are put back together and you are whole from a knowledge, and I say this from a knowledge standpoint, as far as what you are supposed to know, that they keep from you and never taught you. Only the war crime or war criminal invaders, the hostile enemy combatants, however you want to say it, every one of them is true. And I've already told you who they are. They. Again, I will say, they will always ask you, who's they? If they ask you that question, then they're sitting right across from you or talking to you. Just tell them, well, look in the mirror. Tell them that. That should get their attention. I've already told you what that means, too. Anyway, but now you are whole, and you know the things that you're supposed to, that you should, to claim your sovereignty, as well as your inheritance, your sovereign American inheritance. I also have up here, secret, you never were a part. When I said you're now back together knowledge-wise, you never were a part. They just never, they robbed, besides your inheritance and your spending privileges and your capital issuing. Capital now. Capital. It's not money of account. It's capital. And it's constant purchasing power. You need to look that up again, as I remind you now. That's your remedy, people. Because that's what they're using. And they clicked it over to something called historical cost accounting, HCA, while they use our CPP, or constant purchasing power accounting. Don't that just make you warm all over? So, you just like the little withheld. I put withheld in parentheses there, people, because you only hear that term one place, and it's usually once a year, mostly. Yeah. So a combination of that entity and intelligence community entity, probably more than likely centrally, are the very ones who deployed this blocking team that is upon myself at this very moment as we speak. So that's why I know this information to give to you now. And I also have here, don't forget, Shall We Play a Game review. I believe it's the presentation, there's one before this one, and then it's the one before that. Okay, whether it's in one or two parts. Please look at it and use this information wisely. Don't go through the 17 years of and I mean that sincerely, not just code speak, of 17 years of complete hell, torture, tricks and treatments or treats and all that crap. It's complete treason, complete crimes against humanity and all that stuff. And once again, I will say, omedetou gozaimasu. That's Japanese. That means congratulations. Well done to all of you. All right, people. This one is got, I believe I've already included this one. There's so much information here. I think I've already included it, but if not, please forgive me. But I believe I have. It's called Hidden in the Middle, because that's where they wiggle into the middle, drill into the middle, and then, end user, as I said earlier, end user to A to B, they'll drill into the middle, control the middle, and give two different sets of information to two different end users. And it's not a good thing, but that's exactly the model they follow as they infiltrate and have infiltrated this country with clandestinal, meaning not seen or not to be seen intentions. So not see intentions, not see intentions against the true American people, as always, as it's been at the very least since 1933. In my book, it's back to the beginning of this country. Anyway, just not, World War II was where you can, label one of those, but it basically goes back to the Franks, and then eventually back to the gypsies and grifters and drifters and con men, con women, actors and actresses from Egypt. The dictionary literally labels Egyptian in some dictionaries that I recently referenced as what I just told you who they were. Okay, going to the Rhine River Valley in Germany and becoming the Nazi Third Reich. Nazi Fourth Reich became a survival after that. Heavily, which is evident down apparently in Argentina, the Buenos Aires area. It's a beautiful country. It's just, I'm sure they could have done without that. And then as a staging area to infiltrate this country, which is now the Fifth Reich, which is what you see now in this country, and why, every civilian position is warring on the American people, true American people. Why you see so much hostile police brutality. They're, those idiots in, they're American imposters, basically, the real AI in civilian uniforms, or, uniform masks, we'll call them. Okay, that's how they've done it for literally pretty much the last half century at least. I always say a little over a century, but anyway, please read this. I'm pretty sure I've already included it, but I wanted to mention that again. And it just basically says that it's an extension on top of the Excalibur 1 of knowledge that I gave to you earlier. And I believe it's the previous presentation to this one. This one may be in parts, so go back before part 1 of this if it is in parts, and then it'll be that one. Okay, it's an extension onto that one, and then these words, or this sword, just take the S and swing it back up top and you'll get sword. Okay, so these words, that's why I call it, or the sword of information, completes a two-sword arming of knowledge upon yourself, which you are now basically, self-anointed now. But you never weren't. It's just that they never shared the knowledge with you and kept it from you. That's a crime against humanity. Besides and a war crime. Besides your golden Excalibur, the first one, which is what I call the first one, Excalibur 1, your golden Excalibur. This is your royal Excalibur, or Excalibur of knowledge, or Excalibur 2 as I call it. Because each and every American sovereign is American royalty, people. And this royal Excalibur of knowledge, it clues you in on everything, or most of what really matters, especially as it leads up to your estate, estate, enterprise state, business state, which they are currently using instead of yourself right now, as to what's really, really going on today. And it says, if you have found and are viewing this right now, well done again. Okay, and lastly up here, people, I have this one entitled Sacred, because it really is. That's pretty much your head we're talking about. Your brain and the knowledge that's in there to guide your life, basically. But, as you probably already know, I entitled this one, your crystal clearance, or you can spell crystal with a Q as well. So you have your crystal or Q clearance and your power stone, which pretty much both come out to be your, as I've already given you the Excalibur 1 in the previous presentation, this is your golden Excalibur 1. This is your royal Excalibur 2. So now you have dual swords of knowledge that pretty much puts you back together, at least in their psychopathic minds. And I'll get to that pretty much at the bottom here. But so your head was never a stone, people. I had, power stone or whatever. Your head was never a stone. It never was. It's obviously a very important part of your whole body, but it's not a stone at all, like a Marvel movie, because they have all those power stones that they're supposed to all collect and stuff. You already have all of those, people. You already have all of those, and just like all of the stuff, they say, oh, well, you got to go do this, this is that. No. They try to always act and fake their civilian positions. These are American imposters, the real AI. Okay? And they'll try to beat you to the punch. Let me see some identification, please. Do you have it? You're going to need these forms, you're going to need this. No. Who the hell are you? That's basically the way you have to deal with it, because, okay, let me just clue you in on this, people. I demanded that a particular, I won't say which one, but a particular district court supplied me with from chief judges, master chief judges or whatever, all the way down to magistrates. And believe it or not, people, this is in their own law dictionary. Magistrate is not a judicial official. I don't know if you're familiar with that process, people, but when you put your case in, the magistrates, as they exist now, will change your story. And they'll even let you know that. They'll change your story, write it down, meaning reduce it down, and then they will give it to the chief judge or one of the judges for their signature. And they'll give their recommendation, which doesn't appear anywhere. That is also treasonous, people. Don't get me started on, if you don't put ex parte and X-ray out, so on behalf of all the all of the true American sovereign people, well, they consider it internal, hidden, meaning they'll just decide what they want, do with you what they want, and they're not even supposed to be in that position. The theater, the court itself being a theater, everybody on different levels, everybody's supposed to be on a level playing field, right? And there's several things wrong with it. They pretend it's a pirate ship. It's not a pirate ship. It's, good God. I mean, you'll come to know that they're nothing. They have nothing at all. They bring nothing to the table, and they have kitty child's minds. And they have to win every argument, even if it's a blue or red pen or whatever. That's who they are. They're American imposters. AI, the real AI. So don't forget that. Please don't forget that, because I just thought I would share that, because that's a real experience. Why I always said I use my real experiences and my real information that I have actually gone through over the past 17 years. Please take this to heart, people. Please use it, and please use it wisely. And don't go through all of that. Hopefully shortly hereafter you won't have to, but at least now you have the information. I have, alright, so it's, your head's not a stone at all. It's all naturally born living men and living women have these powers. They're called sovereign powers. And just so you know, people, you also have, all of you, all, at least American sovereign, have sovereign immunity. They can't change that, people. Especially not, war invading American imposters. They can't change that. And because you have sovereign immunity, it also means you have state immunity, state of being, also included in that as well, immunity, state immunity, and everything on down. So sovereign immunity, you also have that as well. These powers exist within one's soul, body, and mind, or mind, body, and soul, as I usually say, and are utilized, governed via one's competent mental state. Okay, so governmental state of being, which you do yourself. You already do it. You pay your own bills. They're just, you're only missing the, credit offset of your privileges, which you're already supposed to have and know about, and they've tried to keep it from you. But now you know. For anything. That's cars, houses, reasonable luxury items, and all necessity items. Your free elected choices and or decisions. Once again, I'm going to stress, people, that the elections, meddling in American elections really means they are meddling in your free choices or freedom of choice. That's what that means. The TV presidency is nothing of the sort, as I have come to learn. People, it is a TV presidency, and that's how they've been fooling you all this time with this very heavily intelligence community involved MSM, or mainstream media. And who is everybody is a president, a principal resident. That's what it stands for. Everybody is a principal resident of their own body. And if you're an American sovereign, a principal resident of this country. Business-wise and commercial-wise, you are a principal executive officer. And you do that for the, quote, United States. That means people, the people of being, states of being, United States of America, unquote. Or quote again, however you want to say it. That's who every single American sovereign born natural man and woman, natural woman, is they are all principal residents or presidents. Who you know as the TV president is actually, again, I'll say it again, our country's chief executive officer. You say, well, I've only heard that in corporations. Yeah. Now you get the three main founding documents of this country. You put them together, and oh yeah, it's everything that the corporation asks for, right? So once again, it is the chief executive officer is no small thing. He has to handle all these tough decisions of business. You know, that basically is a presentation of your own country. So those elections would be elections as they're known to be, but they cut that off right at that meaning only, and they don't tell you that your choices, your free choices, your free elections, which they have now meddled in officially, these American imposters, these war-invading American imposters, have done. Executive Order 13818 and 13848 mention that, meddling in American elections. That's what that means, people, in your own choices. It's not these every 4-year things. Those are for our nation's chief executive officer representing business deals abroad. And they use broad and abroad like you wouldn't believe. They kind of hover over the overseas oceans with it, and they try to stay, untouchable and all that crap. But anyway, so now you know that. So your Power Stone was never not with you or your head. Now you have the knowledge that basically you know who you are. You were just lacking a little knowledge that was intentionally kept from you. Intentionally. It means they stole it, and they're using it this very day, people. I don't look for that to continue too much longer because a lot of the fraud has now been identified, but they do use it to this very day until they're all basically, let's say, held accountable. Because anybody ever wonder where all the accounting departments went? All those answers lie in the accounting departments, and the chief accounting officers know that. They know that you can offset things, and they're paid big monies of account, which basically are fake fallacy, false currency, people. I hate to say it, but every definition that I've come up with on the dollar is a fake fallacy. Fiat currency. And don't get me started on the saying that says this is legal tender for all debts, public and private. No. When I broke that down word for word, definition for definition, people, you would not believe what I came up with. It basically says that this is a fake currency that is kind of lawful-like and can be used for debts on the public side or private side. Basically have money of account, which you're not supposed to be doing. It's supposed to be constant purchasing power and issuing your own capital, not cash, capital, which means the amount you put down is automatically offset. That's your American sovereign privilege or your inheritance, which I highly advise each and every sovereign, true American sovereign, to go after, because they have perceptibly have stolen at birth via your certificate of live birth your spending privileges, your right to enjoy your whole life. And it's backed up by laws like you wouldn't believe. Recently I had a term that was just as of like 2 days ago that was attempted to be hidden from me. This is when they get into your devices. They can overlay screens and make them like they're not there. That particular document was called a fieri Facius, F-I-E-R-I, and then another word is F-A-C-I-A-S. Another word is Ecclesiastes, and then another word is Debonus, D-E, B as in Bravo, O-N-I-S. You might want to write that down and look that up, get a PDF copy of it or whatever. It basically just demands their pastoral care, or their, trying to be pushed fake religion. It's a cult, basically, but religion upon you. But it does demand that all your true assets and property be returned to you, because you have had spending privileges all your life, and they just are using it instead of you, and they've tried to withhold the information as long as they can, hopefully, when you die, to claim it themselves as abandoned, if you can believe it or not. But the information I've given you here already under Roman canon laws, that should be well sufficient, because it also explains the crime that took place, the war crime. It explains your remedy, and it also explains the punishment for those if they tried to hold it from you. And that's probably worse off for them, because they have to face their own wrath. And I've already covered that in this presentation. Okay, so you now have your dual Excaliburs of knowledge about you. Use it wisely and perceptionally, or not perceptionally. You are now, you always were, people. You are now whole, meaning complete. All put back together now with all of this that I have shared with you here. All of this information. But you always were, people. You never were not complete. You just had a little information and a little knowledge kept and or stolen from you. That's all. That is a war crime and a crime against humanity, and they know who they are, and a lot of them are still in this country, which I call American imposters, or the real AI. All right, people, so just prior here, just a little bit ago, I said I'd show you the 4 quadrants, and that these perpetrators, okay, these Franks, Nazis, intelligence community, war criminals, invaders, hostile enemy combatants, whatever you want to call them, to this country, via infiltration, make nice, and then occupy all. And occupy is a very important word, people. I just want to let you know, occupiers, occupy. Very important, because they tend to use it a lot on the Architect of the Capital website. You hear them refer to that, and I think you know who they're referring to. Why would they refer to that? Because you're true sovereign American people. Why would they do that? Anyhow, as I said, I'd show you the 4 quadrants that these perpetrators, these psychopaths, American imposters, the real AI, have in their psychopathic minds. This is how they have divided, and I use that term loosely, because when they say, oh, the great divide, great identifies them in their own clandestinal language. People, they hear great, oh, that's us. That's what it actually means. The great divide, Great Britain, great this, great that. That's the Nazis, the Franks, Nazis, intelligence community that came from the Rhine River Valley in Germany, and Egypt before that. I believe they are also referred to as the Cossacks or something like that, but it's just way before. You don't have to go back so far, people. Via their own German term, which is called USURP. Look that up in trust law, and USUFRUCT means while you're alive, you are fully entitled to use what is here for you to enjoy. That's what the Fieri Facius Ecclesiastis de Bonus also states. And there's another term for that. You'll run into it. It's sequestri something also de Bonus. But just look them up and you'll do yourself a favor. But what the information that I've given to you here is fully complete, and that they have to follow, because they're not anywhere. They're nothing. They have nothing. They bring nothing to the table. They're impostoring. Or usurping is the lawful term here in this country. Usurpers, usurping. What you know as the American government, and which is basically yourself, and supposed American government officials. It's called American Imposters, the real AI. Anyhow, but in their psychopathic minds, this is how, from your certificate of live birth, how they have divided your body. And this is what I mean when I say, you are now whole, or I've brought you back whole. All you lacked was just a little knowledge that they stole or kept from you, as I mentioned just a little while ago. This is what it is. The upper left-hand quadrant, and I hate to say it, people, that I know you're probably going to be able to identify that red symbol in the middle. And for you to wear a symbol like that around your neck, you make it mean what you want. If that's what it means to you, your salvation, and however or whatever you want to call it, then you do that. That's your choice, your free election to do so, nobody else's. You are an American sovereign, you're American royalty, you do what you want. That is how it works. In their psychopathic minds, they view it as, okay, so they're identifying themselves as what we've split them up as. They could have very easily copied this and done it that way. Who knows? It doesn't matter. You use it the way you want. But just to let you know, if you turn that upside down, you see him wearing it upside down, it's, Satan is a... Satanic worship is, people, all it really means is the worship of images. That's all. Okay? And that red horned, whatever animated creature, that's a cartoon. That's all it is. Okay? But it's meant to frighten people. Okay? But that's all it is. Again, I'm speaking from my own experiences, my own witnessing, my own everything. Okay? And this is what it's come up to be. I don't put what I'm for, what I'm against. It's just what I witnessed or what I've observed. That's it. That's plain and simple. That's the clearest I can put it. But if you see him wear it upside down, by the way, the Satan worship is worship of images. Images also being media, something viewed on a looking glass or a screen. Looking glass, Alice in Wonderland 2, through the looking glass. It's exactly what it means. And it's mirrored. Okay? That's what these four quadrants kind of do. It's a little more complicated than that, but to put it simply, this is kind of the way I'm showing you here, and it's the way it works. All right? But Satan worshiping is the worship of images. It's not some cartoon. And, they say one more thing you need to know about that is I'm the Alpha and the Omega. Notice that they always leave out, that's not complete, people. They leave out one, and it's always the intelligence community in the middle. That's never mentioned or trying to be not seen. Okay? It's called, if you're ready for this, and I'm not trying to draw on anybody's faith or anything here, but it's called the middle, or the Messiah. The Messiah, people. It's a dramatic term, I know, but just like each and every American, true American sovereign, and even of other countries, if they're naturally born and are, you know, naturally born men, naturally born women, children, as we know them to be, they are the actual, I mean, you are the actual, every individually, as we know it to mean, each and every one is a king, a queen over the age of 18, or the kids are princes and princesses. Everybody, not just one family. Everybody, and that's how it's defined. That traces right back to here. So the Messiah, or the middle, people, if you look at Orion's belt up in the study astrology at all, or the Vatican, if you look at the three suns, but you look up in the sky, you'll see Orion's belt. There's three stars, and one of them is in the lead or up high, and the other two drift just behind that one that's up high. In other words, place three stars in a row or three dots, and place the middle one just a little higher than the other two. What that symbolizes is your birth, the middle or peak of your life, and your passing on to the next life. I'm not going to say death. That's what that stands for. Okay? So basically the beginning, middle, and passing on, or some people would say end or passing on, of a life. Beginning, middle, and end, as people would say. So if that is the case, people, you are each and every single naturally born man and woman on this planet. Of course, also and including also the true American sovereign people, each and every one individually is the Alpha, the Messiah, and the Omega, beginning, middle, and end, of your own life. Just like each and every one of you is a principal resident or president, a king and a queen, a prince and or a princess. If you see, this is what they have kept from you, people, and it's sick. Each and every one of you are the Messiah, and you are here. Now, when you go to legacies, meaning what you leave your knowledge, people. It's an adult's responsibility. The kid's responsibility is to enjoy being a kid. The adult's responsibility is to raise them, nurture them, educate them, and pass on your knowledge to your kids, or the adults pass on their knowledge to the kids. That's what a legacy is. And, if you really, really comprehended what's known as finance the way I do, or the way it actually works, accounting actually works and offsets or constant purchasing power, because that's what everybody has. But they fool you into thinking you don't, and they use it instead because they're here illegally if they're doing so, or unlawfully. So since you already have that, and each and every American already owns all the resources in this country, there's only one rule with that, technically, or two maybe. It's no ridiculous, unnecessary hoarding, and as long as you don't use your signing capital issuing power, which is your signature and your thumbprint in red, to try to take over the country. And that's exactly what these imposters are doing, and or were trying to do. Okay? But each and every true American sovereign man, woman, or child is their own Alpha, Messiah, and Omega. This is how it works, people. But they have split fever. They do it from your certificate of live birth. Please read this page because I've taken so much time here. I'm not going to have time to read it off for you. But I'm giving this to you, people. And so you don't have to go through 17 years of complete torture in hell as they put me through. Please use it wisely. At the bottom of this page, please read it. Pause it if you have to, but at the bottom, it will, explain their war crimes and crimes against humanity. And what's going to probably tick most of the people off is that they, the Franks, Nazis, intelligence community, that, because it's them, but they nest in the intelligence community, and at least up until this point. Them and their descendants and the minions and associates and all that stuff. They use our resources and wealth to fund their, I'll give you this one last one here. The word operation this, operation that, or project this or project that, are Nazi terms, people. I hate to tell you that, but just like if you only think there's a SEC, a Securities Exchange Commission and a Commodities Exchange Commission or whatever in this country only, I think if you look at any other country you look at, you'll find the same setup. And then they're busted. They're globally busted. So look at it. Just please look at it and look it up. And that's called a hoax, people. And at the very least, and don't let them tell you different, because their their symbols and their establishments there's nothing they can do to hide it anymore. They're already there, which defines a classic. I hate to say the word, but these are facts. These are not theories. So it defines the classic definition to what a conspiracy is. Con, as in con men, con women, they're cons. S actually stands for shoot, stopple, or SS, one hiding behind the other. That's the way they do it. That's the intelligence part of it. And piracy. You already know what that means. That's pirating. Probably most of you didn't realize how much meaning is in the word conspiracy. These are facts that I'm giving you. Witnessed and or experienced facts. So now you know. But this up here is the 4 quadrants. If the upper left-hand corner, I gave you a full example. The upper right-hand corner, basically it's, as you can see, they cut the head off and I kind of did this, the Leonardo da Vinci drawing up here of man. I showed the one eye because, look, there's, they cut the head off and the one eye, and if you split right down between the eyes, you're left with one eye, okay? But up there, it pretty much illustrates, and that's the upper left-hand quadrant of the cross. Okay, don't forget what I told you about on the borders and in the game spaces in that game of Go. Please look at Shall We Play a Game, the presentation I have up here. But you have one eye, and it's separate from the body. And this is how they have it symbolized. So they figure, well, we've removed their knowledge, we've removed this, and we've removed that. We split the body up. That's what exists in their psychopathic minds. You never were. All right, but I'm showing you what exists in their mentally, criminally insane psychopathic minds. Okay? Bottom left-hand quadrant is the bottom left-hand quadrant of the cross. Your left-hand side of the pyramid with its top already removed, or the capstone. That's why I titled this here. And the left-hand side with the top removed, I'll just use the word top, of the body. And the bottom right-hand quadrant, as you can probably obviously tell, is the bottom right-hand quadrant of the cross, the right-hand side of the decapitated or DC'd pyramid, which, again, that all-seeing eye, it's not an all-seeing eye, people. It's more of just the one eye that can see what it can, but the other eye is not visible there because it's somewhere else, which means it's dark. You ever seen somebody walking around with a black eye, like a lot of celebrities or politicians or something? Well, now you know what it means. All right. And they're programmed or CBA'd like that, collective bargaining agreement, like that. Okay. And then that's the right-hand side of the pyramid with the top decapitated, and the Leonardo da Vinci drawing of man, which is the right-hand side of the body. It's actually the left-hand side, but I'm calling it the right because we're looking at it, of the body with the top removed. So once again, those bottom two quadrants are actually the left-hand quadrant, as we're looking at it, is actually the right-hand side of the body, and the bottom right-hand quadrant, as we're looking at the screen, is the left-hand side of the body, both with the top removed. That's how you exist in their psychopathic minds, and why the arrogance level is, forgive the expression, through the freaking roof. Okay? But they're psychopaths, and they're programmed to be narcissists. You'll have to look that up on your own because I'm running out of time here to explain it. And that's what they do to try to take over a country. I'm going to share this last term with you here. It's called Rebensbaum, Rebensbaum. That's a German term, Nazi term. It means people, they're creatures, actually, now. Gypsies, grifters, and con men, con women, actors, actresses, drifters, but it means what they say. I could call them creatures, but technically what their definition is, a people without a nation, and they're looking for one. Well, I kind of am favoring the odds that they've been kicked out of so many countries, and I highly doubt. I have faith in our real boys and girls in uniform in this country, and you know what I mean by that. I find it highly doubtful that they're going to allow such a pitiful group of these drifters, grifters, what I just got through saying, to come in here and take our homeland by lies. Their favorite phrase is "without firing a single shot." I don't think so. When you even just lie to somebody to try to gain what they have, that's a shot. And they've taken over a century of them. So I find it highly doubtful that our real boys and girls in uniform, once they comprehend this clearly, are ever going to allow that. And that includes yourself and myself. Okay? But now you know what these four quadrants are. At the bottom of the page, but regarding the enterprise states, businesses, states, or estates, estates, your lawful estate, not just a piece of land with a big fence around it. Well, that's what they're using right now, people, to war on you, the true American people, and myself. I'm one of them, proud to say. They're using it to do that, to fund anything else of crime, and have been for over a century that they've been doing. It's at least and especially since 1945 through 47, when they started a particular intelligence agency that is central to all the other 17 supposed intelligence agencies. I just call it a nest because they're all Franks and not scenes or Nazis. It's the Fifth Reich is what it is. And those are defined clearly. I can give you examples of that. They give that V sign everywhere, with the red, white, and black. Look at The Voice, the song competition show that I believe a lot of people would like to enjoy. I actually do too, but if you'll notice, I mentioned the blocking teams. Well, after a few years, they added blocks. Are you starting to see where I'm coming from now? Like the blocking team that's been deployed upon myself and still is for 7 years now, a continuous stalk, harass, and trespass of my life and my, literally, they want to try to do what they can with you so they can steal your estate. And obviously they don't know what it is because even if I wanted to give it to them, I couldn't. But they try to keep it in perfectly untouched, abandoned condition. But anyway, there's that. And if you just look everywhere, V for vendetta, they make sure they give me another meaning for it because V is not for vendetta. V is for the fifth. Roman numeral. I covered it in this presentation already. Roman numeral 5, the Fifth Reich. Fourth Reich was surviving down in Argentina and infiltrating this country. Okay, so that's basically what that V means, and it goes into victory, the word victory, and I've already gone over all that, but just be on the lookout for those. That's kind of what that means. But all of that, when they take because they want to use your estate privileges now, and everything that's accumulated that is hidden from you, that you're supposed to be using and inheriting when you get to be 21 years old, or 18 if you're married, if you're a guy. Yeah, that's supposed to be coming to you automatically and you're not notified of it. Wonder who's accountable and responsible for that one. Okay, don't forget I mentioned 1933 and a particular apparently clear coup that took place. Okay, but what that is known as in their circles, in their psychopathic war criminal minds, is what's called a harvest. A harvest, people. In other words, harvesting the true sovereign American people. I don't think so. But that's what exists in their psychopathic minds, and they've been doing it ever since, in my mind, at least from 1945 on. But I'm almost convinced it's been well over a century. Alright, so people, I'm just going to flash this up here one last time here. Sorry for that word. If you know about computers, you'll know what a flash image is, and that's right, that's what this blocking team uses to flash your devices and change all the guts in it. And all of a sudden you come back and you find a totally different one. Or that functions don't work or whatever, and that's how it's done. But basically, the one last thing I wanted to mention too is, people say, well, online. People, another thing that's not known is the online was built so they, and you know who I mean, that's Franks, Nazis, and intelligence community, because that's where they nest, could get away with all of their crime, all of their deceptive crime. They think it's a border. They call it a border. They call it the online now, okay? They're famous for using abbreviations and whole words in one term. Like spouse, I've already got this up here, one of these presentations up here. Special person of use, that's how they use your spending privileges right now. It has to do with a little card you have that might have a bridge on it. Might be blue and white with a red number on the back. Something like that. However, online, as obviously I have found to mean apparently very clear. It means odor, O-D-E-R, niece, or niece, or niece, basically. Odor niece line. And you can look that up. It's Niesse, I think. And unfortunately, you might not like it, but that is also a Nazi term. The odor niece line. And it's they think everything that can exist on a borderline where they can't be touched. And that originated, it had a little something to do with an organization that has to do with their own supposed separate military, which would be called NATO. They apparently promised the American government, as it's known to me, that's actually you, but that they wouldn't go an inch further when it was done toward the United States. And as usual, they went right for it all the way to the coast. Or Oost, east, Oost, east of Eden, Oost of Eden, or their office of the Constitution, Oost, east, which is America, if you're located over there. That's what they refer to it as. It's because it's in a different hemisphere. I don't know why they use that term. So they use that. Probably because of, the mirror through the looking glass, all that crap. But anyway, I wanted to flash this last one up here. And it's, again, the because I just mentioned the border line, again, go online, odor niece line, they think is a border which they can stuff everything into and not be touched. That's just not the case. Omedetou gozaimasu, that's Japanese for congratulations, on your second set of words, or your second sword, as I explained that earlier, of knowledge, or your royal Excalibur 2. So now you have dual Excaliburs, 1 and 2. You are now whole. You never weren't. But, they just held that a little knowledge back from you. But it was, of course, all the most potent knowledge that would define your life and way of life and lifestyle. So, people, I want you to know I love each and every one of you very much. Please take care of yourself. Use this wisely, people. A lot of pain went into this, and God bless all of you. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.